now is I want to go through how to throw a cup from a cylinder, a basic cylinder. I'm going to go through the various steps that I did on the previous videos more quickly. The centering aspect is going to be very similar. With the left hand, you can take your right hand across, you can cone it. Basically, I'm just going to be making a cylinder and shaping it to create a cup. Now, I started off with a hunk of clay that is 1.5 pounds, about the size of a fist. This might be a little bit bigger. I do like a generous sized mug, so it's a little bit larger. So, again, I'm going to do exactly what I did before by centering. Don't forget, if the wobble is in the side, use your side hand. If the wobble is in the top, use your top hand. Your hands must be locked together and your elbows must be locked to your legs. I'm going to drop that middle like I did previously. I am going to alter one thing from what I showed you before. I'm going to do a slightly faster way of opening it by just pulling it out with my thumb. Once I drop my thumb in there, a lot of times I just open it with my thumb, but you can open it with whatever hand feels best for you. And I'm going to go for a base, which is about 1/2 inch, the 3/8 of an inch. And again, I could measure that with the needle tool, but I'll save you some time here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start pulling this up. Remember that your fingertips are across from each other. Nice, slow, steady hand motions with elbows locked. Once I have it thinned, then I'm going to be shaping it a little bit. Now, of course, you want to have an idea of what you would like to make before you ever start. But of course, as a beginner, sometimes it's hard to make what you have in mind. But the more experience you have, the easier you will find that to be. You can envision what you want to have as a result, and you can start throwing it with the right proportions as you're working. Alright, so you can see I'm going for a mug that's not terribly fat. It's definitely taller than it is fat. I'm going to take off a little bit of that excess that was down there at the base. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of a transition, say right around here, if you can see where I just made that line. I'm going to create an angle so it kind of comes out and then it goes back in. I'm going to start off first by doing that with my fingers, and then I'm going to switch to a rib to make it more defined. So I'm going to push in a little bit more at the base, and then I'm going to bring this out to the widest point right there. I'm going to go over this a few times. I want to have a nice, smooth angle of transition to right there. And then, at this widest point, I'm going to bring it back in. And you can see I kind of switched to the back side of my fingernail there. Sometimes it's a little easier to treat it like a tool than your fingertip. I'm going to just thin out my edge. Alright. So you can see the angle that's starting to take place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to a rib. Now ribs, of course, are called ribs because they were once made of bone. Big flat bone, like a rib. I am using a Cheryl rib. I'm a huge fan of the Cheryl mud tools. Tom Cheryl, the potter, I believe, was one who started this. I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but he makes some fabulous tools. You can buy them at a lot of different pottery supply places. Just Google mud tools. Now, I use it in place of my fingers on the outside. Now, you can see that what the rib is doing is it's really getting rid of a lot of my finger marks. You know, you can always return and put the finger marks back in there if you want them. It is smoothing it. But what this is going to do next is it's going to help me create that nice angled transition right there. That's what I was going for. Okay? And that is, shaping a mug. Now, something like this, I again would use a chamois or a piece of plastic, something to round that rim so it's really nice and smooth when you put your mouth on it. And I would take off some of the excess down here at the base. There we go. That'll make it a little easier to trim eventually. And that's it. Okay. Now I like to actually put my pieces on wear boards. If you have lots of room to store it on bats, that's fine. But if you have ribbed off the water and you've cleaned the slip off your hands, you can kind of spread your fingers and you can pick it up and then transfer it to a wear board.